Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, a top WWE star is seriously injured.
Indie wrestlers already signed for WWE ID.
Bobby Lashley is back in business and we've got the backstage details.
And we've got backstage reactions to Vince McMahon's new company.
Whoa, I'm Andy.
And I'm Phil.
And it is very, very cold today, particularly in the blue part of Glasgow, I hear. -9 at the moment.
Wow.
Very chilly indeed. Shout out to Conor Barron. Anyway.
Bobby White's blue.
Yeah. And that's why Aberdeen's red. We're just so hot right now. Let's start this one off by talking about Rhea Ripley. She's actually legitimately injured at the moment, Phil. So she was attacked on this week's episode of NXT. You should know better than going in the parking lot. What are you doing? What are you doing?
The most dangerous place in the world.
It sure is. It's chaos there. Don't go there unaccompanied, Rhea Ripley, you silly sausage. But she got battered by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, furthering that ongoing storyline. And there's quite a good shot of her just all battered and destroyed on the floor and stuff. Well, this is a cover. Apparently she's actually hurt, which is a bummer because Rhea Ripley is the GOAT. Fightful Select, PW Insider, I'm speaking out my bum here, coming through with the scoopski on this. The angle was run as a cover for that injury. She's hurt. There's no word on how long she'll be out for or the nature of the injury. However, WWE, as part of this, did share a couple of x-rays of Rhea Ripley's face looking a bit messed up, bone structure-wise. This is a legitimate injury. This is a real x-ray, according to Sean Rossap from Fightful. You can see it on screen. It's in our thumbnail as well. She's hurt. So obviously this is a bit of a kicker. Rhea Ripley's really good. However, maybe the Liv Morgan storyline, a lot of people would say it's a little bit long in the tooth at this stage. So maybe, creatively, it's actually a good thing because she can take some time away, whatever, as long as it's not serious. I don't want her in pain or anything like that.
Yep.
And then come back to something fresh. Maybe.
It sucks for Rhea Ripley. Obviously the timing of this with the last injury as well is not good, and hopefully it's something not too serious, and like you say, she can just take a bit of time, get well and come back whenever she's ready, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, the Liv Morgan stuff, I feel like it still kind of needs that final payoff, and it kind of really needs to be Rhea Ripley just beating Dominic in a match. Just do it. I don't care.
Hell yeah, WrestleMania.
Don't care that it's intergender. Do the goddamn match. Let her kick his ass.
I really want to see that. I want to see Rhea Ripley punch Dominic Mysterio square in the face.
Yeah.
That would make my 2024.
The only way to win this.
Yeah, so if you can't, if you don't want to do another Liv match, okay, I get it, but Rhea versus Dominic, come on, man, just book it. Triple H.
Still money.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Do it. Why not?
Do it.
Rhea Ripley, God, she'd kick his ass. Do it. It's great.
Completely make it a shoot fight. Destroy him.
But moving over to WWE ID, the new kind of development plan that WWE have put in place recently. We've got some kind of backstage news about this. So basically, if you missed it, the WWE ID is for independent development, is what the ID stands for. And the quote from their release said that it is to provide up-and-coming independent wrestlers a pathway to a potential career in WWE. Now, it's Brandon Thurston for Post Wrestling that has got the scoop skis on this. Basically saying that some wrestling schools and some talent are already under contract as part of the program. Now, he did say that several independent wrestlers on the scene are already under the contracts, but the wrestlers were not specifically named, so no idea who they are as of yet. The deals apparently allow them to continue working independent events without restrictions, although they've said no restrictions before for the WWE UK development scene, and there were very much restrictions in place, so we'll have to wait and see what comes up with that. But Brandon Thurston also writes that as of his writing, no financial support is being provided to the schools as per one source. So it's basically the idea is that WWE gets a bunch of schools under contract where places that they trust. So like the places that they named in the first press release were like the Nightmare Academy, which is Cody Rhodes' obviously, Reality of Wrestling, which is Booker T's obviously, the Black and Brave Academy, which is Seth Rollins' obviously. So you can see the ties here of what this is. So they have a bunch of schools that they can trust, they can go out to and check the facilities and make sure stuff's being done right, and then a bunch of indie guys that they can sort of have under contract that are like at those schools getting developed but can still work the independent scenes but with a view to bringing them into NXT at some point down the line, and then kind of work it backwards where NXT people can go and work at these other schools and get some experience away from the NXT system, away from the Performance Center, which is much needed in terms of like career development. You need to be able to get over in front of any audience, not just the one that loves everything in that one building.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense as a system, but they've tried a sort of version of this with the WWE UK Performance Center, and there were very much restrictions in place on where people could work and what they were allowed to do. So it's one of those things where I don't trust it until it starts to come out and we know a bit more about this.
It's the Fed, isn't it? It's the Fed. This is what they do. When it comes to outreach with other companies and schools and stuff, the goal is never to enrich in the wider scheme. I don't care how many PR things they put out there going, we're going to lift up the indies and it's nonsense. The goal is for them to enhance their position, so it's a great deal for them if they can get an early dibs effectively on up and coming indie stars before other companies. It's great for them, and
it's actually good for the wrestlers as well.
Yeah,
as long as it works out right.
Exactly. Anyone who gets a deal out of that and is able to make a living, it's obviously good for them at the same time. But I think it's bad for the wider scene. I mean, WWE UK is obviously the most recent example. Heavy restrictions placed on people who were under those deals with regards to what companies they could work for. Not that we're
basically
bitter.
Any company that filmed anything, they were not allowed to work for.
Exactly.
Which is every independent now.
And it was to the same, they did these deals with Progress and OTT and ICW, and they got what's his name, for whom the bell tolls guy, Jim Smallman and Mark Dallas and stuff. They had them in the crowds at shows and stuff, and then they signed all their best wrestlers. Jim Smallman obviously still works there, and I'm sure there's not much bad blood between these companies or whatever, but that's what they did. Look, they acquired Evolved, and it was closed in a year. In the 80s, they wiped out the territory system using very similar tactics. It's not...
The scale of where Progress and ICW was to where they are now is rapidly different, including the amount of places in the UK alone, not talking the US or anything, that have either closed down or are just so diminished now. The scene disappeared because of that.
Exactly. So... it's not a golden age of indie wrestling. I don't think there's plenty of talented people out there. There's a lot of wrestlers that I enjoy watching and who I will go out of my way to see. But it's more of a regional thing now in the US as well. So I've heard the counter argument, hey, the indies aren't on fire at the moment, so it's not as bad as if it was 5 or 6 years ago. But at the same time, for me, you are diminishing the chances of another indie boom by placing these restrictions and creating this homogenized Fisher-Price style of wrestling everywhere. Yeah, there you go. We've weighed the good, we've weighed the bad. You make up your mind and tell us what you think.
It's also not just WWE. AEW signed a hell of a lot of independent talent and killed a lot of independents. Lest we forget,
they love
AEW signed pretty much the entirety of Ring of Honor's wrestling roster and then just bought Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and then they were like, well, we might as well have the whole thing.
So it's not just WWE.
Talk about it,
people.
Talk about it down below. Let us know what you think, and all that stuff.
We'll see. It might turn out amazing. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed. Right, Bobby Lashley, Big Bob, Blaster Lashley himself. He's back on the scene, crispy and clean, looking great on AEW Dynamite. You like that one?
You're in a strange mood today.
I know.
What's going on here?
I love Bobby. We beat Rangers, man. I'm feeling good. I love Bobby Lashley as well. He debuted on last night's episode of Dynamite, and we got some backstage stuff from Fightful on this. Obviously, end of the show, Swerve Strickland beat Shelton Benjamin. MVP picked up the phone, made a little call. Presumably, Bobby Lashley flew there in 5 seconds. But yeah, the light cut out for a second. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, to be honest. But then his music hit and he came down. He's wearing a nice, it looked like a leather suit. It was beautiful. He came down, he kicked some ass with Shelton. The Hurt Syndicate is back in business, as announced by MVP in the ring. And Fightful Select reporting here that Bob's actually been signed since September. He's been under contract since before MVP debuted, which was a Grand Slam. And there had been some discussion as well about having him appear at Wrestle Dream and debuting there. I believe Ibu of Wrestle Purists has also said similar, but that ended up closing on Bryan Danielson getting choked out with a plastic bag. So, they had other things to do on that show. But yeah, happy he's finally here. We all knew this was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really enjoying the Hurt Syndicate so far. It feels like the best case scenario of like wrestlers having chips on their shoulders about something, where they're like, we know this works, goddammit, and we're gonna shove this up your ass. It's how much it works, and it's the best thing in wrestling when like wrestlers can go off and do that. It's like absolutely wonderful. So very excited to see what they do with it and how this continues. It feels like they've also got a plan in place for it, and they're kind of not rushing things. They're just kind of getting to it as and when they need to, which is good for things like this. You don't want to suddenly have, we've got Bobby Lashley, let's rush it and get him out like really quickly. Let's build this up and keep this going, keep the momentum going, and make this work this time around.
We got a nice pop. It was fun. I also think like not debuting him immediately has given Shelton 2 or 3 weeks to shine and look really good.
Shine he did.
He has indeed. He has indeed. He's got the entrance music. He's got the great manager. He's having the good matches. Bobby Lashley's there now. I think it's a really well presented group. I do agree with Michael Hamflett a little bit. Like, I think they're at the moment they're too cool for me to boo. So I'm gonna have a hard time receiving them as villains for a while. But it's awesome. I love it, and I am a noted Bobby Lashley mark. So this is great. I'm into
Exciting times. We're moving over to Vince McMahon's new company.
Hey!
To end the video, obviously. We've got some backstage reactions to Vince McMahon's new company, and it's coming from Fightful Select, obviously. Of course it is. Now, Fightful confirmed that it is not supposed to be anything wrestling related, but they did have a quote in there, which is interesting, because they were told, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could finance something wrestling related, it's just not expected. So obviously people are already like, well, it's Vince McMahon, he's probably going to do some wrestling stuff, but it's not expected as of yet, but we'll see. Never say never in this stupid industry. So Fightful also noted that there's been rumours surrounding a company for a good couple of months now, basically coming that from a bunch of higher-ups left WWE that were in very secure positions and would never have left unless something lined up with Vince McMahon, which just Vince McMahon's guys. Just follow him to the ends of the earth, apparently, no matter what he does. So, well, let's not get into that.
Although it's evidently true. They do not give a damn.
They do not give a damn. So WWE talents that Fightful spoke to haven't heard or been contacted about this and hadn't heard of any of the plans. So he's not been reaching out to talent, so that's one thing at least. But there is a lot of skepticism apparently in the entertainment industry itself about it actually coming to fruition. One actor told Fightful that, I find it hard to believe that anyone would attach themselves to this company considering his background, but there are plenty of people who just don't care and are desperate to get their project off the ground. I can't imagine anything actually getting done until his lawsuit is settled, though. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of this, but I mean, that's an obvious statement. Like, Vince McMahon's name is in the mud at the minute, so why on earth would you choose in like the entertainment industry as well, where everything is about like your reputation and things like that? Why would you ever choose to get in bed with Vince McMahon at this point, no matter how desperate you are to get a project off the ground? But Fightful did confirm that there have been people within the entertainment industry that have been interviewed already for potential projects for the company already, so they're getting into gear with this pretty quickly, but they did also say that details on that are very few and far between, so tight lips surrounding the actual projects that people have been talking about. But things are moving, it's gonna happen, but is it actually gonna work?
I think I give it about 6 months before he's promoting a wrestling show with Brock Lesnar in the main event, personally. Call me cynical, call me beaten down by the world, but come on. Come on. Look, if he tries to make movies and TV, it's going to fail. Everything he does that isn't wrestling fails. This is an objective truth. The XFL failed twice. WBF. List goes on. WWE films. Jeezy peeps. Some of them are quite funny, ironically. But yeah, we did speak about this in a bit of detail yesterday. Sounds to me like he's just assembling a crack team of stooges.
He loves a good stooge.
He really does. People who have no scruples and do not care about Janelle Grant's lawsuit and the Ring Boy and the scandal and everything else. It's grimace. It's gross. It's going to happen regardless. The only thing I can look forward to positively with this is the wheels coming off, because I think it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And that might be funny.
And the fact it might be a good way of getting rid of all of the Vince McMahon stooges from WWE because they're just going to follow him off to this new one. Basically like lemmings off a cliff.
Bruce Pritchard, see you later, pal.
Wow.
Already got rid of Kevin Dunn, I suppose. Jeez,
No, that's true. I'm very surprised they didn't name him as part of this project.
You imagine
very surprised.
You imagine a movie produced by Kevin Dunn. Button changes. Like the Titanic scene where they're both on where he's about to slip away. Just camera cuts every 2 seconds. Anyway, thanks for joining us today on the news. This has been a fun one indeed. If you like this video, you will love the 50 worst WCW moments ever right here.
Oh my god.
And they are
Click.
WCW moments, so they're quite bad. Bye.